Hello, everybody. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And I'm still thinking my way through the Harvard Project Zero thinking routines. We're about halfway through the list right now. And I need help collaborating on this. So if you want to talk to me at studio-nemo.com or ping me on the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge or on the Duolingo Educators Network, those are places I frequent. Today we're still in introducing and exploring ideas, and we're on Walk the Week. And again, the link is in the description for the Harvard Project Zero thinking routines. They've got a long explanation for this one. This thinking routine is aimed at heightening sensitivity of the many connections that are in our everyday lives with the topics we're studying at school, broaden our understanding of these topics, and think beyond and far beyond them being only school subjects. I tell my students constantly, even if you never use insert whatever language I'm teaching outside of high school, learning another language is going to force you to reflect back on what we do in our language. You haven't thought about it since you were like 2 years old and you said, I got 2 feet. There's a lot of stuff that just flies out of your mouth and you don't even consider it anymore. So learning another language is going to help you think more deeply about what you say, why you say it, and why we say and do the things we do here in America that we do. Because this type of thinking is really best done in English for my students, even for my non-native English speakers. The target language, I teach lower levels, so it's too hard to get them there. So this is like a metacognition thing we do. But I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. I will not spend a week on it like Harvard Project Zero suggests. But yeah, this is a good thing to do for a day, a handful of instances for your students to draw examples from. That's fine. When you're teaching grammar, like pop-up grammar, grammar translation method, audiolingual method, while looking at transformation drills, community language learning, and you're dissecting a script your class wrote, or you're working straight out of your textbook. I generally do this one with verbs. I have the student write down some verbs that they come across in English because especially for French and Spanish, there are a lot of irregular verbs. And if I can point out to them, how many irregular verbs do we have in English? Oh, all of them. Then they're not so intimidated by the verbs in French or in Spanish. So yeah, I direct them to see how many irregular verbs we have, which is a ton. You can also have the students, I like to do this as like a scavenger hunt. I'll give the students a scorecard and I'll let them, go to their other classes and then bring the scorecard back the next day. But they're looking for grammatical constructs like maybe mothers-in-law or attorneys general, so they can see that sometimes in English we do have influences from other languages, so sometimes we do put the adjective after the noun. You can also have your students look for instances of lovely little old French sliver whittling knife, because we have an order of adjectives also in English. You might not think about it too much, but then you can reflect it back to bangs, beauty, age, number, goodness, size if you're teaching French. Or you can have them look for words like Wednesday. Like, why do we spell it like that? So for the languages like French, where spelling is very important, but it doesn't necessarily reflect how you pronounce the word, this is a good thing to get the students thinking about. So I like to have a scorecard and have the students look for it. Write down whatever they come across. They're a little more, they're looking for it. They're actively looking for it at that point. And it's pretty fun. And then we can compare the next day when they get back. When you're teaching literature, culture, history, or art, looking at a recipe, listening to music, I like to do this with holidays. I have the students write down their favorite traditions for an upcoming holiday, and then we compare it to the target culture. Don't forget that even if a holiday doesn't exist in one or the other culture that you're teaching, there may be a different holiday that falls on that same time frame of the mid-solstice, pre-equinox, astronomical event, whatever it is, okay? For example, we have Groundhog's Day, but in France, we have La Chandeleur, okay? And, of course, you all know what Groundhog's Day is. Well, with Chandeleur, It's a dark time of the year. You need some light to light up the place. And there's all these farmers who are planning what they're going to be planting. They can't work the ground right now, it's too cold. So now's the time to sit down and plan out your garden. We've got all this wheat that we better eat up before it goes bad. And so they make a bunch of crepe. So, and they also have superstitions about when to plant the next crop, similar to how we're fixated on the groundhog and his shadow, right? Meanwhile, in Japan, at the exact same time of year, they're celebrating Setsubun. They have these beans and they're going to throw at people to get the evil demons away. So I think it's really cool to compare and contrast cultures, and this is a pretty good way to do it. Do you need to spend a week on it? No, I don't think so. That's too much precious time out of my class. But, for a day, this is a fun thing to do. In our next episode, we're going to look at ways things can be complex. Hope to see you there.